First guest this morning knows how to lead. That's right. He's a retired Navy lieutenant commander who led troops and served as director of security during 9/11. He also has 6 kids.
So what's more challenging, 6 kids or being security? We got to know. So how does he stay sane? He says the key is having a sense of humor. Lieutenant Commander Chip Lutz is a retired U.S. Navy officer, educator, trainer, author, and speaker. They call him Chipper the Skipper. Why? Because are you always smiling?
Well, no, when my daughter was in 3rd grade, they had a career day, and I was in my command tour. And so I was explaining all about the Navy, and I said, you know what they call a commanding officer in the Navy? They call him a skipper. And so I said, Chipper the Skipper.
Cute.
Now,
so it stuck?
It did stick, because it rhymed.
Right.
Everything that rhymes is good, right?
Right. Yeah. In 3rd grade, rhyming is good.
It's very true. A lot of people don't think lieutenant commanders are going to have a good sense of humor. You think, you know, stern, not always, you know, the practical jokester or having a lot of laughs. What do you think has kind of brought you a good sense of humor in life? Was it ingrained through your family?
Yeah. In my family, I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So, you know,
Class
when you're youngest
clown.
of 6, that's what I got voted out of 600 kids in my way. Absolutely. Actually, that's how I joined. That's actually how I joined the Navy. Because my dad was like, 600 kids, class clown. I don't see myself paying for your college.
I get that. Yeah. So it developed, you would say, maybe in childhood?
Right. My dad was always pretty funny. My mom was a great straight man.
Oh, okay. I get that.
Straight woman.
See, I'm a good straight woman, and she's the funny one. But you know, really, the military is very. I would think there are a lot of reasons not to smile or not to think things are funny.
I think that within the military, people have a really good sense of humor because they have really stressful jobs, and sometimes humor is that one thing that helps people cope. And so I think that people have, I would say, almost an unfair view of the military, that some of the funniest people I know are in the military.
Really?
Now, some of their senses of humor are pretty warped, but they're pretty funny people, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, yeah, it's a good outlet. And, you know, as a leader, we often think of leaders, again, not always being the funny guy, but you think leading with a sense of humor is very effective.
Oh, absolutely. I kind of subscribe to Dwight D. Eisenhower had said that, you know, humor is a part of the art of leadership, you know, part of getting along with people and getting things done. And I certainly believe that and practice that my entire time in the Navy.
When you're giving speeches, because I know you talk a lot about leadership, when you're giving speeches and you're talking about why it's important to have a sense of humor or why it helps, why is it a benefit for leaders to have a sense of humor?
Well, first, if as a leader you're not laughing at yourself and your own mistakes, you can bet your people are. They're laughing at you. But you know, leaders that can laugh at their mistakes, and they help create this atmosphere of risk without fear of reprise. That, you know, if you can laugh as a leader at your own mistakes, then you know, your people will be able to realize that they can laugh at their own mistakes as well, and that it relieves quite a bit of tension in the workplace. If people aren't always afraid, oh, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? So, you know, it's an effective tool, just in creating an atmosphere where people can explore themselves, be a little more creative, maybe a little more productive, and just enjoy work. I mean, let's face it, we spend a lot of time at work. So wouldn't you want it to be more enjoyable?
Yeah. You want to have a little fun now and then.
Absolutely.
What about people who say, I'm just not funny? Because people sort of take on a label early. Either they're funny or they're not funny. They're the, you know, the straight man, whatever it is. They sort of take it on and keep it.
I think, well, for leaders, it's not really as much as far as being funny, just having more of an attitude of fun. And you don't have to be funny. I mean, some of the funniest people, funniest things are people who can't tell jokes because they end up telling the punchline before the end of the joke, and they start laughing. That's some funny stuff right there.
I laugh so hard once I get close to the punchline that not only can I not remember it, but I'm laughing so hard that nobody can hear
Absolutely.
it.
And her jokes are the funniest to her.
Mine are too. Mine are too. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a good point that she brings up, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm not that funny, but you can still have a sense of humor, right?
Well, yeah, have a sense of humor, and, you know, find the things that are funny and share your sense of humor with other people. You know, share your funny story. I think that's something really powerful leaders can do, is just, you know, share your funny story. We all have funny things that happen to us every day. I mean, humor is really subjective, but, you know, you can find those funny things that happen at home or with the kids and just share them with your people. And that does a lot as far as showing your humanness to your people.
Yeah.
Your people are your 6 kids.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
How as a parent does humor benefit you? I think my parents were very funny. Molly's really funny around her kids. And I think in general, kids really do learn to be more resilient or different things like that when they recognize life isn't so serious. It doesn't need to be so serious.
Right. Well, with my kids, just for myself, if I didn't have a sense of humor, I probably would be living on a beach in Costa Rica someplace, homeless, because it gets pretty stressful.
It does.
But, with my kids, it was always looking for the things that we could have in common. Like when they got old enough and they could appreciate some of the things I grew up with, I'd introduce them to like Steve Martin movies, other things. So we had that bond. And after a while, they developed, kind of my warped sense of humor, and I will always get strange texts from my children.
That's fun, right? That's a way to connect with
absolutely,
kids.
Yeah.
Like I remember, just as an example, we were going to Disney and we were talking about going to the Lilo and Stitch breakfast, and I said, it's the Oahu, and it was like I was saying the word wrong. So now whenever I text my daughter, I say Oahu, and it's just like it's like a thing to connect with. And I think it's not that funny to anybody else, but it's those moments that you take, because connecting with kids, she's 14, especially as they get to be teenagers, gets to be a lot harder.
Well, and you bring up a good point, is that it's not so much trying to have them come to where you're at, is meeting them where they're at. Like I watched all the episodes of Gossip Girl with my youngest daughter.
Oh my gosh, my daughter watches that too. I'm not that good of a parent.
So that's right, Dad of the Year right here.
Gossip Girl fan.
But I watched all of them, and so it's not a funny show, but it was then became some funny things for us to refer back on. As far as like one of the characters' name was Chuck Blass, and so she would text me a question, what should I do on this, and I would be to her, WWCBD. What would Chuck Blass do?
That's good. I like that.
And it was always just finding things that we could laugh about. And my greatest joy now, because I have 2 kids gone and a herd back there. There's seeing them all together, having fun together, playing jokes on each other. That is probably one of my greatest joys in life.
Well, and you have a blended family, right? And that's tough.
Right.
Do you also think, because for people dealing with that a sense of humor really helps there as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Just this last Thanksgiving, all the kids were there, and afterwards it's like, hey, let's get the dishes done. And the kids were, oh, I don't want to do dishes. And so my eldest son, who actually is in teacher training in New York, he's like, well, let's make a song about it. And so they start singing songs, pursuing, all the dishes are done, the kitchen's clean, and they're just having a good time. And I get to enjoy my vodka tonic.
Right on, right on. Alcohol also helps with parenting, right?
It makes things funnier.
What about parents out there of teenagers? Molly's got a teen. You've gone through the teen years where things aren't so funny to them. Because there's a time when you can try and joke with teens and they just like immediately cry, or they run to their room, or they're just like, that's not funny.
Or they roll their eyes.
How do you do that? Do you come back and continue it? Do you let up? I mean, what's that balance as a parent? I don't know that.
It varies per child. With my eldest son, who's got my gift of moodiness.
Are you a Scorpio?
No, I'm a Leo, but he would.
Oh, I collect Leos.
All right. High five. I don't even know what that means, but I'm in. He would get real moody, and I would just, I would always have a joke on the ready, and I would laugh as obnoxious as possible. And it was always funny to me. He didn't want to laugh. It was kind of like he was possessed. It was like,
exactly.
But if eventually he would break down, he would laugh, and then we could talk about the issue, or we could find something to connect on otherwise. But it's different with every child, looking on how you do that balance. Sometimes it's best just to stay away. Stay away.
And knowing
far away.
When to approach. This is probably for the military too. When to retreat. Is the key in parenting as well. Yeah, I love it.
Well, you can learn more about Lieutenant Commander Chip Lutz, the Chipper Skipper, at his website. It's unconventionalleader.com. If you want to have him come out, speak to your group, do anything like that, learn more about him there. Well, thanks for being
good
here.
Stuff.
Thanks for having me.
We connected because last month was National Humor Month, and we didn't get a chance to catch up then. But this is good stuff, I think, all year round.
Absolutely, you have to have a sense of humor all year round.
I agree.
Not just in April.
That's right.
Even in the mornings.
Especially in the mornings.
Especially in the morning with teenagers. Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
Thanks.